You ever had your whole life get upended before sunrise, all because one person decided the rules mattered more than common sense? Yeah, that was me, just a regular guy with a snowplow and a knack for waking up half the neighborhood before their alarms ever go off. I'll never forget that morning. My phone blared its emergency alert at 3:45 a.m. louder than any coffee pot or alarm clock. You know that sound, the one that makes you wonder if the world's ending or if you're just in for another classic Minnesota blizzard. I didn't need to check the screen. I already knew. 18 inches of snow, howling wind, and me, Oliver Quinn, the guy who gets to dig everyone out while the rest of the world's still dreaming. Welcome to Rochester. So I roll out of bed quiet as I can because my wife Amanda works harder than anyone I know and she deserves her sleep, and I'm dressed in my thermals before I can even remember what day it is. By 4:15, I'm in my truck heading out to the Meadowbrook Estates, this fancy subdivision with more HOA rules than you'd believe. Trust me, if you ever want to see tyranny in its purest suburban form, go read an HOA handbook. It's bitter cold, maybe -5, and the snow's just starting to drift down, soft but threatening. I crank the heat in my truck, watch my breath hang in the air, and tell myself I'm going to get ahead of this storm for once. That's the trick you plow before the blizzard buries you. I spent good money on my rig too, a heavy-duty blade, big tires, the works. I love my work even when the world is frozen solid. I start on Maple Ridge Drive, the Johnson's place, good folks, pharmacist at Mayo, never missed a payment. The metal plow scraping on concrete at 4:30 in the morning isn't exactly a lullaby, but hey, in a blizzard, nobody cares about the noise, right? At least that's what Minnesota law says. Emergency services trump noise ordinances, and today that's me. But if you've ever lived in a neighborhood with a powerful HOA president, you know there's always at least one person who thinks their word is law. Enter Patricia Henderson. There she was out in the middle of the street, pink bathrobe, fuzzy slippers, arms flapping like she was trying to flag down the last helicopter out of Saigon. "Do you have any idea what time it is?" she shouts, voice cutting through the wind like a cheese slicer. Now, I'd seen Patricia before, big colonial house, always the loudest at HOA meetings, always mad about something. I try to keep it professional. "Ma'am, emergency snow removal before the storm gets worse." She's having none of it. "You woke my whole family up." That noise is absolutely unacceptable. Honestly, if I'd had a camera, I would have filmed her for posterity. Minnesota's queen of the cul-de-sac, risking hypothermia to defend the sanctity of silence. But it wasn't funny in the moment. She's shouting about HOA noise ordinances, threatening to call the police, swearing up and down I'll never work in her neighborhood again. I try reason. I try the law. I even try pointing out her face is turning blue. "No dice." She storms back inside, leaving little pink footprints in the snow, and I sit there heater blasting, wondering what the hell just happened. But there's driveways to plow people depending on me, so I keep going. Peterson's, Chang's, Martin's, one after another. I see lights turning on, people peeking out, but nobody else complains. Not yet. By the time I finish the Williams place, blue and red lights swing into my rear view. It's Officer Mike Chen, and thankfully, he's a friend. Well, bench press buddy at the gym counts as a friend at 6 a.m. during a blizzard. Mike is trying not to laugh as he walks up. "Noise complaint." Let me guess, Patricia nailed it. He tells me I'm fine. The county declared an emergency, and he even writes it up official-like. If she tries to fine anyone, this'll cover you. That's the twist right there, by the way. Sometimes the law is on your side, even when it doesn't feel like it. Sometimes the system works. Not always, but sometimes. But if you think the story ends there, you don't know Patricia. It's maybe 8 a.m. I've cleared every driveway. The wind's screaming like a banshee, and I'm making a second pass because it's piling up fast. That's when I spot Patricia's phone glued to her ear, gesturing at me like she's conducting an orchestra. My phone rings. Tom Johnson, looking frazzled. "Patricia's threatening to fine me $500 because you plowed before 7 a.m. The whole neighborhood's getting these emails all lawyered up, threatening liens and bans and who knows what else." I try to talk Tom down. State law trumps HOA, Tom. She's bluffing. But Patricia's got history. Last year, she tried to fine the Gonzalez family for their kid's broken-down car, even after they paid for a lawyer and won. The whole subdivision's in an uproar, and now she's showing up at people's doors. The Yamada's sweetest old couple you'll ever meet call me in tears because Patricia's threatening to put a lien on their house. That was it for me. There's a line between being annoying and being a bully, and she'd crossed it, stomped all over it in her fuzzy slippers. I call Mike Chen. He says keep everything documented, and if Patricia keeps it up, we might have a real case. The storm passes. By the next morning, Rochester looks like a snow globe, pristine, beautiful, almost peaceful. I'm back out before sunrise clearing fresh drifts when the mail carrier flags me down. Certified letter from the HOA. I open it, and no joke, Patricia is banning me from entering the subdivision. If I come back, she says she'll get a restraining order and press trespassing charges. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I married one. Amanda's eyes narrow the minute I tell her. She can't do that. Roads are public, contracts are private. She's completely out of line. Amanda starts making calls. Turns out one of the partners at her firm, Richard Foster, lives in Meadowbrook Estates and got one of Patricia's threatening emails. He's furious, says he's been waiting years to take her down. And just like that, I've got a whole legal team behind me. We file a lawsuit, harassment, abuse of authority, attempted extortion, you name it. News outlets get wind, and suddenly I'm the small business owner standing up to the HOA tyrant. Reporters call neighbors, whisper, board members start resigning. George Martinez, this retired teacher who's always been soft-spoken, publicly calls for Patricia's removal as president. Even her closest allies bail when she starts threatening a $1,000 fine per household and promising to force people to sell their homes. It's classic overreach. The bully pokes one too many times and suddenly everyone's had enough. The police keep getting called out for trespassing. That never happened. Officer Chen, Officer Davis, they all check my contracts, shake their heads, tell me I'm fine. Patricia keeps doubling down, emails flying, threats escalating. Then it turns ugly. Someone slashes Tom Johnson's tires, paints traitor on his garage door. The Chang's mailbox gets wrecked. The Petersons find a dead rat nailed to their door. Now it's not just harassment, it's a crime scene. Surveillance footage seals it. Patricia's car, Patricia's coat, Patricia on camera in the middle of the night. On February 8th, they arrest her. 3 counts: criminal damage to property, stalking, harassment, intimidation of a witness, attempted extortion. $50,000 bail. The subdivision for the first time in years is quiet. The legal gears grind on. Patricia's lawyer tries to paint her as a misunderstood volunteer who cares too much. Judge Morrison isn't buying it. She lays down the law, Patricia's suspended, the fines are canceled, and the HOA issues a formal apology. My business booms. The story's all over local news, and other neighborhoods reach out for my services. Twist of fate, huh? The very person who tried to destroy me becomes the reason my business triples. Patricia goes to trial. The jury's not fooled. 18 months in prison, $40,000 in restitution. And for the icing on the cake, the civil suit awards over $300,000 in damages, plus the HOA has to rewrite all its bylaws, put in term limits, checks and balances, the whole 9 yards. And here's the thing, justice isn't always pretty. Sometimes you watch a person dig their own grave out of stubbornness and pride, and all you feel is tired. Patricia wrote me from prison apologizing, said she knew she'd let her need for control become a sickness. I believed her a little. Amanda said forgiveness is optional, closure isn't. I wrote her back short civil, but I didn't pretend I'd forgiven her. Now I'm still plowing snow, still out there before sunrise, but nobody yells, nobody threatens. Amanda got promoted. My business is booming. The HOA is run by people who remember what neighbor means. They even gave me the contract for the whole subdivision, common areas, cul-de-sacs, the works. Sometimes I look back and wonder, how did it all go this far? Over a bit of early morning noise. How does power twist? People turn common sense into a weapon. Maybe that's the lesson. The line between order and tyranny is thinner than we think. We all want rules, but rules without heart just breed resentment. Sometimes the only thing that stops a bully is a bunch of tired, cold neighbors who finally say enough. You know, in the end, it wasn't about the snow or the noise or even the fines. It was about standing up when you're pushed about, remembering that the people who make the rules aren't above them. I didn't set out to be a hero or to start a revolution. I just wanted to do my job, go home to my wife, maybe have a cup of coffee and watch the snow fall. So let me ask you, where's the line for you? When does just following the rules turn into something darker? Who keeps the powerful in check when they forget that power's supposed to serve, not control? Maybe you've been on the wrong end of a rule gone mad, or maybe you've stood up to someone who thought the rules made them untouchable. Drop your stories, your thoughts, your own run-ins with little dictators down in the comments. Let's hear about the times you stood your ground or the times you wish you had. Because at the end of the day, justice doesn't just show up on its own. Sometimes you have to fire up your snowplow and make your own road.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.